if the brain could talk. 3, 2, 1. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Shower Podcast, the podcast where I'm in my shower and you do you. I'm your host, Chip, and I would like to welcome you officially to the last mini-series of the Shower Podcast project. Since we are so close to my desired goal of 365 days of consecutive podcasting, I thought to make it special. And I realized that throughout this year, something was missing from the podcast. Usually on podcasts, you have guests, but due to logistic problems, as you can see, my shower is not that big. We didn't have a chance to have guests on the podcast. But while thinking about all the things that we have discussed, there is somebody that could be part of our podcast, even though we will have to work with a bit of imagination. As you have seen from the title, this mini-series will be named "What If the Brain Could Talk?" And I really thought, what if parts of our brain, our motivation, dopamine, sleep, neuroplasticity, all topics that we covered across the year in the Shower Podcast, could give us some hints on how to work with them, how we are working against them, and overall to give us some insights on how to properly use our brain. Here on the screen right now, you will see the list of all participants, and also one of them will be highlighted. This is because this series will run over 7 episodes, and each episode will have a certain guest on the show. I deliberately didn't want to use AI for the voices. Let's say I still wanted to make it sound like all the other episodes of the Shower Podcast. So when the guest will be talking, you will hear a slight difference in my voice. I hope that you'll be able to enjoy it and that it will make it a bit fun and different to listen to. And overall, I believe that it was the right compromise. Having said that, that was all for today. Thank you very much for listening. If you made it so far and overall want to give a last push to the Shower Podcast, remember the liking and subscribing really mean a lot for me. And having said that, I will leave you directly with the interview and enjoy the episode.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm Dopamine, and I need to correct the label people stick on me. I'm not the pleasure chemical. I'm part of the brain's learning and drive machinery. I help tag what matters, and I help you update expectations so tomorrow isn't a repeat of yesterday.
Okay, so you're telling me that my life isn't ruined by dopamine? It's just ruined by my expectations? Okay, that feels a bit illegal and convenient, but go ahead, continue.
One place expectations show up is the difference between liking and wanting. Liking is the enjoyment when you finally get something. Wanting is the pull toward it, the craving, the chase. Actually, research on incentive salience shows those who can split. You can want something intensely even, but once you have it, it's just fine. And that's why cues become powerful. Teasers, smells, pings, because they can drive motivation before any enjoyment actually happens.
Indeed, that explains why I refresh a delivery tracking page like it's a Formula One race, and then when the food arrives, I'm like, okay, nice. And by nice, I mean I would have survived either way. There was no need to panic refresh.
Exactly. And the other thing I do is teach through surprise. There's classical neuroscience showing dopamine neurons behave like a prediction error signal. When something good is better than expected, the signal spikes. When a reward becomes expected, the spike shifts earlier to the cue that predicts it. And when you expect it and it doesn't show, the signal can dip. That gap, expected versus actual, is actually a teaching message that I'm trying to give you. Just update the model.
Okay, so you're not whispering more pleasure, you're basically yelling that was just information.
Pretty much. And that's why unpredictable rewards hook attention. If you don't know when the interesting thing will appear, the brain keeps checking because the next check might change the story.
Okay, let's switch it up. Let's talk motivation, because people say I'm not motivated like it's a zodiac sign. Where do you actually fit into that whole motivation sphere?
Thing is, motivation has an effort side that people usually just ignore. Dopamine is strongly linked to behavioral activation. Starting action, sticking with it, choosing to work when it's worth it. In a paper wrote by Solomon and colleagues, they argue that lowering myself, dopamine, doesn't simply erase pleasure. It often reduces willingness to expand effort. So people drift towards easier options even when they still care about the outcome.
So when I'm staring at my laptop like it's haunted, that's not always lazy. Sometimes it's engine won't turn over.
Right. And the practical fix is rarely a dramatic reinvention. It's making the first step concrete and the feedback visible. If the task is vague and the payoff is distant, there's not much for the system to learn from. If progress is trackable, on the other hand, efforts start to feel meaningful.
Okay, that was actually interesting. Last one. How do we work with you without becoming the person who needs bigger and bigger hits just to feel awake?
Yeah, I get this one pretty frequently as a question, and my response has stayed pretty much the same. Don't chase spikes. Spikes train you to depend on novelty. Build reliable signals instead. Check messages on purpose rather than by reflex. And make sure your progress is measurable so the effort that produces it is a clear yes, that counted. And you're not lost along the way. When the system can predict a clean link between action and outcome, then in that moment, it settles.
Dopamine, thank you so much for being here. If I had to sum it up, you're not happiness in a bottle. You're a learning and drive system. You pull us through wanting more than liking, and you teach through prediction errors. And you're tied to effort, getting started and staying on it, which means the move isn't chasing bigger stimulations. It's cleaner cues, cleaner feedback, and a fewer random rewards. Again, very appreciated that you came on the show. And if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. Welcome back. I hope you managed to enjoy today's episode. Let me know in the comments what are your thoughts, and if you have any questions overall, I'll try my best to reach out to our guest and complete any kind of knowledge gap that might have been there. If you made it so far, thank you very much. As always, feel free to interact with this content in any way, shape, or form by liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing. Whatever works for you works for me. And as usual, stay consistent, stay resilient. This was the Shower Podcast, and I'll see you tomorrow with another guest.